All right, so we are here in the Love Intelligence Talk. Let me see who's here. Who's here with me? So the way the Love Intelligence Talks work is that I'm here for about 15 minutes and then I bring you on for group coaching or hot seat coaching. But I truly want to, for the Love CEO Academy members, give you an opportunity to come in for hot seat coaching for this. I'm doing this just for a little while so that we can build more connection, more solid habits, which I'm talking about self-love habits today. So I will dive right in. So making a habit of self-love. Self-love is something that we often think just shows up, or we finally get this, we go through some healing. Most of the time, the way self-love was explained to me back in the day was after I had gone through 2 horrible marriages. And I say horrible because, I learned some lessons, but they were just painful. They were really painful. And when I was leaving those marriages, I went to therapy. I got into a coaching group, and I learned a lot about what love is and started discovering for myself, what does self-love look like to me? And oftentimes, that's when a lot of times people are getting into the self-love. It's when you've been knocked off your feet because of some traumatic or something that's happened in your life that just didn't feel good. And then you realized, oh my gosh, I was not making myself a priority. And that's how self-love showed up in my world. So you get into your healing and you're reading all the books and you're like, great, now I know what self-love is. Self-love is this thing that, I got now. When oftentimes we haven't really put a face on what self-love is for ourselves. There are baselines for self-love, but then there's the self-love where it's you know yourself intimately. It's kind of like when you're dating, like you might get it all together and understand what relationships look like, but you're going to have to learn what each individual that you are with, what their likes, their dislikes, their nuances, their beliefs, their traumas, you'll learn them specifically. So how do we make learning self-love for yourself specifically a part of the process? And that is making self-love a habit. So I'm going to give you tips of how you can make self-love a habit. I'm going to give you an action, and then I would love to bring you on and get your opinion about what self-love looks like, how it showed up in your world, what you would like to do differently, because I'm going to be discussing that as well. So self-love, I want to combine our understanding, the Love CEO Institute way of self-love. Love CEO Institute, we've broken down self-love. It is all in the table of contents here in the Love CEO Academy. And in the Loving Yourself to Love, this may overlap in some of the other ones, and we've gone through this in Love Intelligence Talk 1, but we have identified 8 characteristics of love. And I'm going to go over them briefly for those of you who are coming in new and you happen to catch this. I will go over them with you. Patience, kindness, honor, forgiveness, protection, trust, hope, and perseverance. Patience, kindness, honor, forgiveness, protection, trust, hope, and perseverance. These are the foundations of self-love. Those are the core foundations of love, period. Now, you're like, okay, that sounds great. This actually came from 1 Corinthians, the first or second, but Corinthians in the Bible. Y'all know they read this at church, at weddings. And when we look at this, sometimes we go, okay, what does this mean to us? Does this mean anything to me? But your job and my job for myself and my self-love is to identify, what does this look like in my life? Patience. How do I be patient to myself? Kindness, honor, forgiveness, protection, trust, hope. I identified these definitions in the Webster Dictionary. I like to refresh that every now and then. So you want to go to your dictionary, whether you got a handheld one, I love my handheld dictionaries, or you just go Google it and see what the definition of patience is. And identify, where am I showing myself patience and where have I not shown myself patience? I ask that because patience is one of the biggest ones for me. I prayed for patience and God brought me my husband. I still haven't learned it for myself, but I am a work in progress and I will continue to be on that journey. So when I personally think of patience in my world, and I want you to look at this twofold because we're going to get to the point, not simply how can I show myself patience, but how have I not been patient with myself? How have I not been patient with myself? This shows up for me in my business all the time. I have an idea. I know what I want the business to look like. I have my big vision, but I'm not getting there fast enough. What am I doing wrong? Shame on you, Natasha, for taking a break. Shame on you for having self-care. I go down this rabbit hole of just not being patient. That leads into me not being kind to myself, beating myself up emotionally, mentally. So when I think about creating new habits, I think about what are ways you can be patient with yourself? One, praising yourself for the things that you have done. That goes back to our celebration. We're always talking about celebration in here. We love celebration and love CEO. It's really about identifying, how can I be patient? I can be patient by really celebrating this wonderful, beautiful platform that I've created, celebrating the courses that I've created, celebrating the lives that I have changed, celebrating getting a text message from someone who was out of the program for a while and said, hey, I got a new job, I'm going to be coming back. Celebrating these moments for myself. I'm identifying this because I'm taking an inventory on what I'm going to put on my habit tracker. We think about habit tracking for everything else. I want to drink 8 glasses of water every day. Let me put that on a board and do check marks. But do we do that for self-love habits? What habits do you want to incorporate into your life? When we think about self-love, and we think about how we're patient with ourselves and how we are kind or not kind with ourselves, or how we want to honor ourselves more. We really want to put a face on this, like to the minutia of these terms. Forgiving ourselves. Does that mean every week we do a forgiveness brain dump? Because I can forgive myself on something every week. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't finish this thing, or oh my goodness, I said that crazy to somebody, So I want you to think about the habits that are directly connected to the characteristics of love. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to tell you about this habit tracker. And then I want to bring in a self-contract. Yes, self-contract. And I'll tell you my story around that. And then we will move on. Okay, so let's think about that. Patience. I want you to be writing this down. Like, what are the habits? Kindness, honor. How can you honor yourself? Keeping yourself number one. Forgiveness. What are some things that you feel like you might have dropped the ball on? Or maybe you're carrying a guilt with you. Oh my God, I didn't realize for years I carried a guilt being a single mom and my kids' dad not being around or doing the things that I felt that they should be doing. And so I carried their guilt and shame, and therefore was responding differently by not putting myself first, by giving my kid every single aspect of me, not making myself a priority. It was this guilt. Like if I made myself a priority, then I would be taking away from the things that I should, or they should, or the dad should be doing. And so that was a huge, carrying this guilt. So I had to forgive myself for that. Protection. How do you protect your time and your energy? The other thing about honoring is to own your story. So years ago, when I first started Love CEO Institute, before I even had coaching clients, I had a platform. I was on YouTube. I was doing YouTube videos, and I fully never accepted that this woman online giving you relationship advice had been divorced twice and married 3 times. And it was almost like, it wasn't that I was hiding it, but I wasn't fully honoring and owning my story. So that's another aspect of that. So as I'm talking, I'm hoping you're making a list of what these self-love habits that you want to have. But here, I'll give you a couple of them. Daily connection with yourself. That can be a habit of just checking in, not just, I'm going to do my to-dos, like the tasks. Oh, this is my morning routine, task, versus, hey, Natasha, how are you doing? What do you need from me today? How can I serve you today? What areas do we need to look into to give you some relief today? Really having a daily connection with yourself. Back to protecting your time and energy, honoring your own story, brain dumping on the things that you can forgive. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't have to be this long drawn out, I'm going to journal it, write it, burn it. Sometimes it is deep like that. But sometimes it's like, let's name it, claim it, forgive it. Name it, claim it, forgive it, and move on. You didn't get that thing done today? Okay, forgive yourself. I forgive myself. I forgive you, girl, and move on. Okay, so there's that level of forgiveness as well. So brain dumping on forgiveness, protection, saying no. Can you say no? Protecting your time and energy. Trust. Do you trust yourself? Do you have ideas and then get scared and go, no, I don't think that you make up all the excuses? Trusting yourself, what that looks like is maybe responding to your download, responding to your ideas, not sitting on your ideas, activating your ideas, moving one step towards your goal. That could be, the self-love. Hope. Hope is that vision. Hope, if you can't sit and make a vision, a lot of times there is a disconnect with your hope. Okay, so habit tracker. What I want you to do is to create a habit tracker for the next 30 days. I want you to identify 5 to 10 things that you want to do daily. Maybe it is drinking water. That's okay to add that on there, but that you want to do. So you're going to have your column, which is your habits, down one side, and across the top, you'll have 1 through 30. And these are daily activations that you want to do. Now, you can identify some things that you want to do weekly, which is fine. You can do that. Make a note that this is a weekly one. So you're going to be checking that box every 7th box. So you have your habits down one side and across the top. I will never forget the time that I signed up for this course, and it was like this life-changing, altering course. And I'm like diving in and getting in. And then they said, hey, we want you to fill out your contract. I'm like, a contract? I'm already up in here taking all these notes and doing all these things and excited and pumped up. But one of the things that it made me do is it made me realize that, and I did some research because psychology background, I did some research. When you have a contract with yourself, you are more than likely to make it happen. It's you honoring that relationship with yourself. It's you taking your wedding vows for yourself, right? Having that marriage contract with yourself. So in your self-contract, which I would love for you to write out and post in the group, self-contract is today's date, your name, what you want to do, you will do what by the date, and your personal reasons why. Why would you create a self-love habit? Today, October 6th, I, Natasha McCray, will finish my self-love habit tracking by November 5th. I will have 30 days of self-love habit tracking by November 5th, because I know that it will help me get closer to my goals and dreams, because I know that it will improve my health. I know that I will be able to keep my goals and dreams at the forefront of my mind. I know that I will be able to accomplish my goals and dreams without feeling so exhausted and tired. So what's going to be on my self-love habit tracker? Taking my vitamins daily, because I will skip taking vitamins all the time. That's really honoring myself. That's putting myself first. I will have a forgiveness brain dump daily, where it's like, what do I want to forgive myself for today? Because I have a tendency of beating myself up. So I'll go down this list, and I'll do it and I'll post it in the group with you. So I'm going to go down this list and identify what are these things that I want to do in the next 30 days that will be on my self-love habit tracker. You can revisit the Loving Yourself to Love section. I believe it is module 3 in the Loving Yourself to Love section that gives you a list of those. You can identify that. The next thing is you want to identify the actionable steps that connect to each characteristic of love, which means what does that look like in your life? How are you showing, how are you honoring yourself? You will create your habit tracker by listing your 5 to 10. You could do more, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Your 5 to 10 habits that you're going to do that are connected to your love characteristics, list those down on the left-hand side, 1 through 30 on the top. We're going to do this for 30 days. And then I want you to do your self-love habit tracking contract. And we want to have the reasons why you would do this. Now, let's be real. You might look at this and be like, hey, I don't need this right now. I'm not doing that. But I really think it's worth your time. I truly believe there's magic that will happen. 1, because we're collectively doing this as a group together, but also 2, because you don't know what you don't know. And there will be so many things that show up for you. So I hope you'll join us in doing that. I love you. Go out and make it an amazing week.